We have just 3 mantras remaining, and this mantra number 9 of the last Mundaka, last section, is a very famous mantra. A lot of mantras from this Upanishads are from, especially Mundaka Upanishad, are often quoted, and this is the actual Phalashruti of Brahma Vidya. Mantra number 9. Sayoha vai tat paramam brahma veda.
Sayoha vai tat paramam brahma veda.
Brahmaiva bhavati.
Brahmaiva bhavati.
Nasya abrahmavit kule bhavati.
Nasya abrahmavit kule bhavati.
Tarati shokam tarati papmanam.
Tarati shokam tarati papmanam.
Guha granthibhyo vimukto mruto bhavati.
Guha granthibhyo vimukto mruto bhavati.
This Gata Kala Panchadasha, we did that. Then Yatha Nadya Syandamana Samudre, I did that. Astam Gachanti Nama Rupo Vihaya Tatha Vidvan Nama Rupo Vimukto. I didn't do this? Okay.
You've done 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
You can.
4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, 8, 9 I have to do. 7. Gatakala Panchadasha Pratishtaha Devascha Sarve Pratidevatasu Karmani Vijnanamayascha Atma Parevyaye Sarva Eki Bhavanti. Panchadasha Kalaha Pratishtha Gataha. The Panchadasha, 15 kalas. Kalas over here, what is meant by the parts, the phases. In fact, the manifested world is always in parts. Even the unmanifest world is in the undifferentiated, unmanifest form. But even in the unmanifest, there are tendencies which are existing in a bij form, where the kalas are not seen, but the cause of it is there. So kala meaning any type of individuality, any type of part, any type of limitation created by name and time, name and causation. So desha kal creates kala. The time and place creates a specific manifestation of kala. And over here the kala talked about 16 kala from Pippala Rishi's 16 kalas in Prashna Upanishad: faith, akash, air, fire, water, earth, senses, mind, food, strength, penance, mantras, karmas, world, and in the world names also Nam Roop. In other places the kalas are the 5 great elements, the 5 organs of action and the 5 organs of perception. These 15 are taken to be the one which the matter world, and that which allows the perception of the matter world, and that which allows the transaction of the matter world. So transaction is the 5 organs of action, And perception is that which allows us to make sense of the world of matter, and the 5 elements is the world of matter. So these 15 are typically taken to be the Panchadasha kalas, but we can see the kalas of from Prashno Upanishad, the 5 great elements are taken, and faith, prana and faith are considered to be big ones, because our perception depends upon our faith basically. So in this way, the 15 kalas, Panchadasha kala pratishtha, which are very well present in the manifested form, and not just a form but all forms, gataha, the individuality at the level of Prakriti merges, and this manifested gross body and the kalas of the unmanifest, the subtle body, that also completely merges into the higher. Devascha sarve pratidevatasu, and all of these are maintained by the devatas, the deities which preside over them. So different deities which preside over each one of the 16 kalas, even they devascha sarve pratidevatasu, and the cause of their also all merges. Karmani vijnanamayascha atma, these senses and the corresponding deities are all gone. Then karmani, all actions, vijnanamayascha atma, pare avyaye sarva eki bhavanti. So in the antakarana, the intellect has the light of awareness, and that light of awareness is exclusive consciousness, but because there is a pool of individuality, that reflected consciousness, that reflection identifies with the reflective pool, and because of that it becomes an embodied soul. That embodied soul is known as Vijnanamaya. It is filled with the Mayat Pratyaya is used over here in Sanskritam. That means that it is filled of the knowing capacity. Well, the Atma is that and that alone, but in here it is capable of knowing that individuality which reflects over here, and that same perceiver, feeler, thinker, the feeler of the emotions, the thinker of the thoughts, that individuality, Atma pare avyaye, that individual Atma in the pare avyaye, in the absolute unmanifest, which ever remains unmanifest, is pare avyaye. Shankaracharya ji says the unmanifest self is not like the unmanifest Maya, which in due time manifests, but this never ever manifests. It remains in its utmost sukshma form, and that is pare avyaye, and this individuality merges into that eki bhavanti, and it becomes one. The last thought, known as the Brahmakara Vritti, the thought of Brahman. All thoughts are negated, they are all negated, and upon negating everything, exclusive this one thought of Brahman remains, And even that one thought of Brahman is a disturbance in the mind because there is a fear that this thought will disappear. So even that thought has to be rejected, and when that thought itself bursts, the intellect itself bursts, and the whole equipment, the knower over here merges with the absolute exclusive presence awareness, and that is over here sarva eki bhavanti. Sarva, everything. What everything? Over here the antakarana, the cause of the antakarana, and the antakarana which has gone beyond the cause into this pare avyaye, in that it merges. And this panchadasha kalaha, each one of these kalas are liberated slowly. The last thought during the Brahmakara vritti, when in the seat of meditation that thought itself of Brahman is incubated, in the very heat of the incubation of the thought and thought alone, each one of these kalas are burning. And the burning of that, the rate at which these kalas burn is not in our hand. This is in the hands of Prakriti. The Panchadashakshari mantra over here is what works in terms of annihilation of the very sukshma sharira, and in that way this Prakriti Upasana is the one which liberates the awareness from the absolute awareness from the Prakriti. The union of the spirit and the matter has to will for the spirit to leave, and that over here is all the realization which takes place in all place, all times. Towards the end, the person just liberates themselves. And over here Gurudev has talked about how these prana, faith, akash, the five elements, senses, mind, food, strength, penance, he systematically says how the senses merge into their cause, which is the mind. The mind merges into its cause. What is the cause of the mind? Food, matter creates the very mind, the individual mind. So the mind itself merges. Then the mind receives strength from the food, so the mind is rendered quiet. And the strength of the mind is the way it holds on to the penultimate thought, the last thought when it holds on to, that is the strength over here. Usually the weakness we call it, or the strength of the mind, is it leaks out and it embraces this world. But now this mind has become ample trained, the mind has become quiet enough for it to hold on to the Brahmakara vritti. And the penance, the fortitude with which the mind holds on to this thought, there is, in fact, its affinity for that is so much that that itself weakens all other things that the mind is typically attached to. And that's why over here self-control, there is no practice as such of self-control, because the person has actually merged. Person has actually merged into the higher thought. In that way, the penance is the invocation of the Atma Tattvam. And the mantras and the karmas and the world. So mantra, karma, world, that is the triputi of creation. Mantra is what creates this distinction at the level of the world. Mantra meaning a formula. Formula meaning the uniqueness of that particular thing. So within the antakarana, that mantra has bared the fruit of single pointedness. Outside, the mantra retains its uniqueness of deshakal, and the mantra itself, the desires create more and more desires, which is none other than karmas, the karmic vasanas, the debt that one has to fulfill. All that is removed because there is no mantra per se of the desires which allows this mind to act upon it. The mind has gone beyond it, holds on to it, so the mind doesn't act upon any such desires. And in this way the worlds fold. Which worlds fold? The Jagrat Avastha, the Swapna Avastha, Sushupti Avastha, all the three worlds disappear. What remains is a Turiya abidance. The fourth remains. So the worlds talked about is Trishudhamashu yad bhoktam bhokta bhogascha yad bhaved tebhyo vilakshana sakshi chinmatroham sadashiva. This is from Kaivalya Upanishad, that the three worlds collapse. And what remains? Chinmatroham sadashiva. I ever am pure exclusive presence awareness. This is what should happen. These are all the indicators when we engage in sadhana, our spiritual progress. The mind should become quiet. We can see the progression of all these kalas, the dependence upon food, the dependence upon this world in terms of desire and thought and food created equipment, all that slowly all of that weakens, and these are the signs that the Prakriti is now getting ready to fold itself. This is the final exit of the jiva from this Prakriti. How does that happen? An example is given in mantra number 8. Yatha nadyah sandhyamana samudre
Yatha nadyah sandhyamana samudre
astam gachanti namarupe vihaya
astam gachanti namarupe vihaya
tatha vidvan namarupat vimuktaha
tata vidvan namarupat vimuktaha
parat param purushamupaiti divyam
parat param purushamupaiti divyam
yatha nadyah sandhyamana samudrehe. These nadyah sandhyamana, which are flowing, just like the rivers are flowing, the flowing rivers, samudre astam gachanti. All the rivers, big rivers, Mississippi, Amazon, Ganga, Nile, all of them, they flow towards the ocean, and each one of them have their unique characteristics. For example, Ganga ji has so much mica, and it looks it shines when the sun falls onto it. That's why it's called Dhavala Tarange. Devi Sureshwari, Bhagavati Gange, Dhavala Tarange, all these, that you have this white waters. It's not the white waters created because of the potential energy, but the white waters over here are from this mica which shines and it releases light. So it looks like the waters are white. There's nothing white about the water. It's just that the very fine particles of mica, which are natural elements, they all shine. So that is uniqueness of her. Amazon carries so much silt, it continuously washes the whole organic matter of the forest. In this way, each one of them carry their own individuality, and that individuality is nama rupa. So when the water comes to the ocean, the water becomes one with the ocean, and the ocean is a giant mass of saline solution. So that fresh water merges with it, and it can never retain its individuality. The water in there never says, oh, I am from Ganga, oh, I am from this river. The water becomes water, and the rivers lose their identity. Nama Rupa Vihaya, they give up. The name and form is completely given up. In the same way, Tatha Vidvan, a wise person, Nama Rupat Vimuktaha. The meditation on this Brahman and the invocation of Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, that flame is burning so brilliantly that flame itself as though becomes alive, and all other individuality becomes only secondary to it. So during the process of meditation, this person is actually, even though has not reached Brahman, but in essence Brahman, because the thoughts are nothing else. Typically in us, as the thought, so we become. So the thought is of Brahman. So this Nama Rupa created Jagat, taking birth from one's own individuality, desires, this world outside, he sees the world, yet the world is not registered because the predominant thought process is I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. And that predominant thought process itself starts ejecting the world, and it says Nama Rupat Vimuktah Bhavati. And one fine day, Parat Param Purushamupaiti Divyam. Because the desire of Brahman is so much that the mind itself will start seeing that, and in the very seat of meditation, the person, because there are no other desires pulling this person out, and the Prakriti also is ready to bless. The Prakriti also doesn't want this person to retain individuality. The Prakriti starts releasing, the creation starts releasing the consciousness, the spirit, and in this way Purusham Upaiti Divyam, the person attains the highest. And again, these are, the mantras for studying and for us to understand the whole process of reaching towards the self. That reaching towards the self, even though there is no reaching, but at the same time it is in the cave of creation, the self is trapped, and it is the release of it, and this is to be understood for our benefit. So when we sit in the seat of meditation, the progress of our meditation is registered properly. Mantra number 9. Sayo havai tat paramam brahma veda.
Sayo havai tat paramam brahma veda.
Brahmaiva bhavati.
Brahmaiva bhavati.
Na asya abrahmavid kule bhavati
Na asya abrahmavikule bhavati
tarati shokam tarati papmanam
tarati shokam tarati papmanam
guha granthibhyo vimukto mruto bhavati
Grantibhyo vimukto mruto bhavati
saha yaha havai tat paramam brahmaveda. Who is this saha? He, yaha, he whoever started this entire study of Mundaka Upanishad. In this Upanishad is the Angirasa who approached Bhagavan Brahmaji. So this Angirasa Rishi himself is the one who the Shruti Devi is saying, because he started the journey of the study of Brahma Vidya. So whoever studies this Brahma Vidya and Sayo Havai is also a mumukshu, the desirous, the student of Brahma Vidya. Indeed, it is said Havai, indeed is this unique person in this pool of all types of people. One rare person came to this very state, came to this very place in life. Tat Paramam Brahma Veda, he realized this absolute self. Paramam Brahma Veda, he came to indeed realize this, and upon realizing this, Brahmaiva Bhavati, he became Brahman. He or she merged into Brahman. Becoming Brahman is, don't think that actually something will happen to the body, mind, the whole thing will disappear. It will remain the way it is. But doubtless knowledge will take place, I am Brahman. And once that takes place, the mind and the intellect can never ever go back to being mind and the intellect. That mind and the intellect loses its capacity to be mind and intellect. Little bit of that remains for the sake of the body. To transact in this world, little bit remains, and that is what we see as the Chandrakala of Lord Shiva. The Chandrakala of Lord Shiva, the crescent moon, is that much mind is enough for the worldly process. The Purna Chandra which is there, the full moon is completely gone. And in fact, that fine Kala will in due time go into new moon phase when the person actually takes Mahasamadhi. When the body itself vanishes, when the body dies, that crescent moon of the Antakarana is actually released, and the Jyoti merges with the all-pervading. Actually, Shankaracharya ji writes about this very little crescent moon, but yet that moon is so beautiful to watch because the person has gained abidance in the truth. Little bit of matter, but in that little bit of matter, full presence of consciousness is there, and in there will be the punya of that Jivatma. So when actually the body dies, all punya, it remains around the very place of the Mahatma. Wherever he or she lived, whoever is around. In fact, Shankaracharya ji goes as far as to saying that his disciples who bow down to him actually get the punya of the Mahatma. The mission Mayananji itself is enough for this institution to function. That is the crescent moon merging into the matter world as pure blessings because he doesn't need any punya, he is realized. So Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. While living he has become Brahman, but that little bit of mind is enough for transaction. And what happens to such a person's kith and kin? Na asya kule abrahmavit bhavati. When a person realizes in the lineage of this person there is never an ignorant born. That person's lineage, by his knowledge, the power of that knowledge will drag all others towards self-realization. And this is a guarantee Upanishads give. And we see in mission, people who come to study Brahma Vidya, their son comes, the daughter comes, it's only due time, the mother, the father also arrives, and some people think that it's a family affair. Actually, this is a guarantee of Upanishads. Even if a child studies and the parents don't have the bhagya for it, the punya of the child will drag the parents in there too. We've seen, I can name so many sannyasis whose parents have eventually followed the children. This is, it is not a magic or something. These are the blessings of Shruti Devi. This is her declaration that na tasya kule abrahmavit bhavati. In their lineage, people will study Brahma Vidya, they will acquire the punya of getting this Brahma Vidya, which is so rare in Bhuloka, and that one rare human being will light the flame of wisdom in the whole kula. And lineage of one's own family is one thing, but then when they take Diksha in the Guru's lineage is their lineage, because the Gotra becomes a Guru now, because when they take sannyas, the family, Gotra, everything is given up. So that parampara will become strong. Every generation of Guru Shishya that goes, that parampara becomes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, because the yogic bal of the sannyasi goes with the shishya, and the punya and the bhagya and all that goes in the other lineage. But the very power of that yoga, that entire institution will gain name, fame, power, position, all those things. There are mathas, because of their name they give power to the acharya, and there are acharyas, because of their achar they give power to the matha. And now both of them, you imagine if both of them are present in full glory, can that dharma ever disappear? So one person in one matha is able to push it into the next generation of people who come over there to worship, and this is na tasya kule abrahmavit bhavati. So this is the eulogy of the glory of Brahma Vidya. Tarati shokam tarati papmanam. This person conquers grief. And Ashocyan Anvashochasvam, Vedyas Maharshi Ji gets the shok of where? Tarati shokam. All Shruti is clear about it, that pain might be there, but grief is not there. So, tarati shokam, tarati papmanam. The greatest pap over here is the torment that one goes through because of their vasanas. The greatest sin is our desires. So over here, tarati papmanam, the person conquers desires. He becomes desireless. No desires. Desire is the root cause of suffering, pain. So tarati papmanam, it is, he will conquer all types of that. Guha granthibhyo vimukto bhavati. Guha granthi, the knot of ignorance which is keeping the cave of the intellect intact. The cave of the intellect where the Atma burns as I am, aham ahamiti sakshad atmarupena bhati, in the very cave of the intellect, meaning the Chaitanya which is within the matter, that Chaitanya, the matter which envelops it has threefold fault, and avidya, kama, karma is the granthi. Avidya, ignorance. Ignorance created desires, kamana, and the desires propel the person to act and action. So that avidya granthi is talked about, guha granthi, the very knots of ignorance which wrap the jiva. The Chaitanya aspect of the jiva is held together by this guha granthi. Vimukto bhavati, he is liberated, and in the process amruto bhavati. So he is vimuktaha amruta bhavati, completely liberated, and amruta, immortal, is the state that he or she attains, meaning there is complete freedom. This person has no avidya created bondage which remains. So the person is liberated. Continuing, tadetadrucha bhyuktam kriyavanta shrotriya brahmanishtaha swayam juhvata ekarshim shraddhayantaha tesham evaitam brahma vidyam vadeta shirovratam vidhivat yaistu chirnam. So this mantra over here is a mantra taken from Rig Veda, and this Upanishad is Atharvana Veda Upanishad. So over here Shruti comes to quote another portion of Shruti, and what does it say? Tad etad rucha Rigved abhyuktam. This is what is explained. What is explained? What is explained in the Rig Veda? Kriyavantaha shrotriya brahmanishtaha. So the journey of the mumukshu to realization results in the mumukshu becoming the knower of the Brahman. The one who is desirous of the knowledge of Brahman actually becomes Brahman, is what we saw in the last shloka, last mantra. And not only does he realize and becomes immortal, Hridaya Granthi Vimuktaha Amruta Bhavati, but he even drags his lineage, the birth lineage benefits and the parampara lineage of the Guru Shishya who initiated this Brahma Vidya, that also lineage benefits, and that lineage also gains great amount of strength. So such a Brahmanishtha, that Brahmanishtha, the one who has great abidance in the self, who realize the self, but the body has not yet died. So that person is called Jivan Muktaha. He is still alive, the body is alive, and the equipment over here is done. This equipment has merged. Fine amount of equipment exists for the sake of the transaction in this world. And such a person who realize, not only did he or she realize, but Shrotriyaha, that person is the one who he has all the knowledge of scriptures. The two adjectives which describe a perfect teacher is Shrotriya, Brahmanishtha. Shrotriya meaning the person has not just realized out of pure grace, but this person has invested time, effort in study. Ramana Maharshi ji realized, bas, he had not acquired this abidance in the self through parampara prapta jnana. He realized, he just went over there and his mumukshutvam was so ripe, and he must have attained a great guru and studied very well in previous birth. We don't know. Something was left over which he needed to finish. He came, the minute it was finished, that knowledge took birth. So it looks like as though he had studied no scriptures. But when Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni came over there, who was actually a great scholar of Vedas, one of his foremost disciple, he was a highly Shrotriya but no Brahmanishtha. So over here, when the two of them meet, Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni decided to stay over there, and Ramana Maharshi ji used to tell him, you sing my glories, let me hear what your books are talking about me. Who has the authority to say that? So quietly he would be silent and quietly sitting over there, and the Parayanam of the Vedas is going on by Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni. And as he is speaking, Ramana Maharshi ji, yeah, I know this, I know this, I know this. Why? Purva Janam Samskaras, or the power of the Nishtha, it just arrived. So Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni gave him the Shrotriyatvam. We can say that, but not really. He was there to begin with. But for the sake of, what people write and talk. And Ramana Maharshi ji, his brilliance, he blessed Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni. Yes, you studied this, you will reach there. No problem. Just sit over here, meditate, this, that. So many a times after chanting Vedas, he would quietly sit, and Ramana Maharshi ji's glance would be more than enough for him to rise in his meditation. So for a householder who has not had a proper time to study Shastra because of the demands of the household life. And if there is a person in that lineage who realizes, then their blessings are enough for them to come out of it. Complete vairagya will take place because of the blessings, and because of vivek and vairagya, they will hear one thing, you are Atma, and like, yes, I am Atma, bas, over. But no Shastra Adhyanan will be there, but they will realize, because the karma is done so properly, household life, everything is done in a systematic manner, and that becomes blessings. But for that person who has studied Shastra, and a student comes, and they initiate that student into a diksha, and they initiate them into the study of Brahma Vidya, then that student requires proper guidance to navigate through sadhana and the worldly process. And for such a student, Shrotriya teacher is required to guide somebody properly who has surrendered. Shishyaste ham shadimam tvam prapannam. When Arjuna says that, Bhagavan knows how to navigate Arjuna's mind. Bhagavan is, name is Sarthi, Partha Sarthi. It's not just navigation of chariot. It's so much more than that. He's navigating the antakarana of Arjuna. This is not ordinary. He bears his name, Parthasarthi. So, such a teacher becomes a Shishya Sarthi. But for the Brahmavid to be a Shishya Sarthi, each Shishya is so unique. So the teacher has to be Shrotriya. For each one of them, he will give different instructions. Our Taponji Maharaj taught Mundaka Upanishad and Panchadashi and told, enough, you go do your work now. He didn't go through all the 10 principal Upanishads, Isha, Katha, Ken, Mundak, Mandukya, Aitreya, Taitreya, Chandogya, Brahada, none of those things. One Mandukya is what Taponji Maharaj delivered to Chinmayananda. Panchadashi, the principles of the Vedanta and highest Upanishad he took. He says, you take this. And he said towards the end of his life that, Gurudev, you did not teach me Bhagavad Gita. I want to learn Gita from you. So Taponji Maharaj says, come to Uttarkashi. But at that time, his health failed. And he could not speak. Taponji Maharaj was getting ready to, Prakriti just didn't support. So he quietly sat over there and he said, you read in front of me. And he kept on looking at him. And his Purna Gnyan, Taponji Maharaj by Drashti, he gave to Chinmayananji. And today, Chinmaya Mission is known for Gita Gnyan Yajnas. In India, it is not Bal Vihar. In US, it is known for Bal Vihar. But his army of sannyasis, that Shrotriya, and that Shrotriya Kriyavantaha. This is that Kriya, not some Laukik Kriya. The kriya of Shrotriya Brahma Nishtha, he kriyavantah, the one who performs rituals for the sake of purification of the antakarana, not some getting some bhagya or this and that. These gurus are, their kriya is in some other world where we cannot even understand. Shamayantu brahmacharina swaha, damayantu brahmacharina swaha. You know, in Taittiriya Upanishad, we see a Brahmavid doing a homam, but the homam is, may students, brahmacharis with Shama and Dama and Vivek and Vairagya, may they come from all directions. And before I die, may they loot away this wisdom. This is their kriya. So, this Rig Veda mantra comes over here and says, kriyavanta. Otherwise, somebody may say, what kriya remains for a Shrotriya Brahmanishtha? What action do they need to do? The one who has gone beyond all desires, aren't the very genesis of action desires? Prajahadi yada kaman sarvan parth, all desires gone. Then what action will they do? But yet they do for the sake of preserving this Brahma Vidya. They know they have benefited. They know how they have benefited. Shrotriya Brahmanishta, my Guru did it. Our Guruji's composition, Krutagnyata, in 8 shlokas, he said, how do I give thanks or pay back to Guru Chinmaya who has given me this? What all I can do is continue this work. That's it. This is my dakshina. Tava charanayoho jivanam samarpanam astu. Whatever you did, I will do. That is kriyavanta. Shrotriya Brahmanishtaha. Swayam juhvata ekarshihi shraddhayantaha. Swayam juhvataha. He himself puts the ahuti of this knowledge and wisdom in this world, in that karma that he does. He himself does it. He will not remain quiet. Tapovanji Maharaj with Chinmayananda, great discipline, and taught him Vedanta. And the other student had a very yogic inclination, Swami Sundaranandji, and different type of instruction was given to him. You do this, Chinmaya, you do this. That is called a Shrotriya. Realizes equipment has some innate tendency. The buddhi of Chinmayananda was so brilliant. What kind of hatha yoga will he do? He said, I'm not going to become a pretzel. I'm going to make my mind a pretzel. His hatha was the exercise of the buddhi. But the other person, great tapasvin and tapascharya and all sorts of hatha purvak it was given. So he got the yogic bal. So swayam juhvataha. He puts ahutis in different people in different ways. There's another great Swamiji in Uttar Kashi. He attained Mahasamadhi in 2005. His name is not coming. He was just a teenager when he came to Uttar Kashi. He actually got sannyas from Shivanandji. He came to Uttar Kashi and never left Uttar Kashi. he learned it from Tapovanji Maharaj. And he learned few things. And one thing he says I learned from Tapovanji Maharaj is Dakshina Murti Stotram. He said when he taught that, he was a Dakshina Murti. He never got up for days. No sleep, no food, because he took that and he said all of us Shishyas became the 4 Rishis. We also couldn't get up. And we realized day is turning into night, night is turning into day, day is turning into night, night is turning into day. And it went on, and these 10 shlokas, Tapovanji Maharaj just was reveling in it. And he said, we saw Sakshat Dakshinamurti. He said, after that I had no desire to study any Shastra. He said, I got what I wanted. Then, what else is actually required? But he has put the Ahuti in so many people in so many different ways. The Tarka, Nyaya, Gnyan, Chinmayananda. Hatha, somebody else. And those, not the Sharirik Vayovruddha, but Antakarana Vayovruddha. He made those people sit down and Dakshinamurti Stotram. He said it lasted for days. We lost our entire continuum with time, space, and interestingly that is what it talks about, Dakshinamurti Stotram. He said he gave a drashti into Vishwam Darpana Drushyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijan Targatam. We saw that on the banks of Gangaji. He said, if I have this bhagya, where will I go now? Who can give me a bhagya greater than this? Grateful that my mom and dad gave me birth, but much grateful to this Guru who bursted everything and allowed me to just abide. His name is not coming to me, but great another Swamiji of Uttarkashi. Tesham eva over here. Tesham eva etam brahma vidyam vadeta. And only when such students are there, he can turn into Dakshinamurti. Otherwise, in front of a buffalo, what will he do? If the Mahishi Buddhi is there, then she has to come with 16 hands. What else? But if somebody is prepared, the Upanishad says, Tesham. Who are the disciples? Who are these disciples? They are pure ones, divine ones, who have this desire. Tesham eva. Upanishad says, don't give this vidya to anybody. Tesham eva. Etam. This. Brahma vidyam. Vadet. You speak. And Tapovanji Maharaj did exactly that. If somebody came and asked any nonsense question, he would just look at the bird and go in samadhi. He had no time for small talk of the world. This High Court judge of Lucknow used to come, and he was a lover of Brahma Vidya. But profession lawyer, so talking, delighted in talking. And in front of Tapovanji Maharaj, he would come whenever he would take time off from the court. He would dismiss the cases and come. In India, it is possible. So he would do all those things, come over there and sit in front of Tapovanji Maharaj, and he had money too. He said, I want to build you a nice home. He said, and then trap me inside. But he never gave up. Being a lawyer, the language, our Tapovan Kuti is actually built by him. He said, I will build, even if it is a small hut, but I will build a small hut for you. So he built, and Taponji Maharaj lived over there. And he said, I will live over there, but after that you are not allowed to talk. Only listen. So he qualified him for Brahma Vidya. Before he could give, he said, yes, you give me this home, but you also deliver silence to me. Then, and he became a disciple. His children, he said, now you take care of Amma. He left his wife and came and stayed over there. This is a, bhagya to meet such a guru, who, if we are not qualified, he qualifies before he delivers. So this tesham eva etam brahma vidyam vadeta shirovratam vidhivat yaistu chirnam. For those people, shirovratam, let that vow of transferring, shira, the head. Head is where knowledge is. So the vrata of transferring this head to another head, let that be the vrata. You look at, where our Shastra is. Shirovratam. I am going to transfer all this knowledge that I have to vidhivat, with proper, not some with USB stick I am transferring from this computer to that computer. Vidhivat, proper way, so that student who receives it with proper traditional value of it. Otherwise, what will Brahma Vidya, knowledge of Brahman, do in Antakarana like Hitler and this? What will? This knowledge is much too great for it to be a talk of a coffee shop. So, Shirovratam, they sit down properly, proper place. And the desire of the student is not to desire of the teacher is not to keep it, but give it in its entirety. That is Shirovratam. The most secretive possession. I want to share it, I want to give it. But Vidhivat, let the student be proper. And according to the rules, according to the proper, Yaihi, by whom, to Chirnam, the ones who are Krutartha, the ones who have attained it, the ones who've received it, they will pass this on. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.